Good morning, everybody. It's BDF44. Just coming at you with another video. So, yesterday I made a video and I had to delete it because I didn't have all my facts straight. But to make a long story less long, went to Drivetime yesterday to, purchase a vehicle, of course, try to see what my options are. And went down there. Everything seemed to be copacetic. They were trying to run my credit. Spent a long time trying to go back and forth with their bank, per usual. You know, those kind of things go. Ultimately, we couldn't come to a deal. But as I'm leaving there, I call my grandfather because I'd been in conversations with him about the process of this. And, he basically told me that he had spoken to someone from Drivetime. And they had agreed to a deal on a vehicle where he was supposed to give $1,000 to his local branch where he lives out of state. And, he was going to purchase my car, basically. Now, you can imagine the confusion on my face because I'm sitting at Drivetime, leaving that place because I didn't have a deal, and my grandfather's on the line making a deal with the same company. So it looked like to me, initially, that I had walked in there and that they pretended to be looking, for information on myself, or rather confirmation on myself, while actually talking to my grandfather and all of that. What I've surmised is that it wasn't that at all. It was just a very, very weird and crazy coincidence that I was going to Drivetime in real life, having planned that with my grandfather to check on an inquiry on the vehicle, and a few days before that, I had also contacted Drivetime via app for a similar vehicle, and it put in some information in regards to who would be my possible cosigner if necessary. So that would explain why they had my grandfather's information. That would explain why Drivetime was speaking to my grandfather while I was at a Drivetime location at the exact same time. So it was one of those very weird kind of coincidences that took place. I got on here and made a video saying that they were trying to imposter me and they were pretending to do stuff, but the branch at Torrance, they didn't do anything wrong from what I can surmise. They did everything they were supposed to do on our end, and what I had going on in Torrance literally had nothing to do with what my uncle, or my grandfather I should say, had going on over the phone. However, there was still some real messed up stuff going on there. And what I mean by that is, if I put you down as a cosigner on an application, and I didn't even apply for the car, all I did was say, look, here's an inquiry, this is what I'm interested in, have someone call me and we could discuss terms. They went on ahead and contacted my cosigner and then tried to negotiate the sale of the vehicle, came to a conclusion, or an agreement rather, with him, after first telling him that I had agreed to a number that I never agreed to, a $1,500 down payment, which I would have never agreed to in the first place, because that's higher than what I was intending to pay for the car that I'm looking for. So the fact that they told him that I had agreed to 15, he had to tell them that he had spoken to me and that I hadn't, that I had agreed to 1,000, which was something that we didn't agree to at all, but he knew better than to say I would be down with $1,500 down payment for that car. So, he thought he was doing his grandson a solid, but somewhere in that process, he tried to loop me into the conversation. He didn't want to have negotiations without me on the phone, obviously. And they tried to deter him from that. And they went through some incredible steps to try to make that happen. Now, I can say that there are ways to explain what took place here, but I will describe it to you as it was described to me. They got on the phone with him and told him that they were Brandon, my name. What could have happened was my grandfather could have asked to speak to Brandon, asking them to loop me into the conversation. They then went and got someone in their building named Brandon and put him on the line. It's the only explanation I have for that. I don't know what else could have possibly happened, other than to say these people were trying to pretend they were me to get him to negotiate without me. But if I want to give them the benefit of the doubt or try to surmise where they could be innocent in that situation, that could have been how that took place. The only way I can see. But the part that doesn't make any sense at all is the fact that someone got on the phone and said they were Brandon's mother. My mother's been gone for 3 years. That was her father they were speaking to. So, do I need to get into how devastating that could have been for him to have to hear them pretend to be his daughter who had passed? Do I have to pretend how disgusting of a human being you have to be to do that to a person, 94 years of age, just to get $1,000 out of their account? To sell a car to someone who doesn't even know that you're on the phone with their cosigner, let alone their grandfather? Negotiating a deal that I never agreed to. I don't have all of the information that I need to make sense of all of this. And unfortunately, of course, because I was not on the line with my grandfather, I can only go by his word and what he said took place, which is extremely credible to me. And all in all, no matter how they got my grandfather's information, whether I put it into the application previously on another, another inquiry, or they looked him up on their own, either way, I never gave them permission to negotiate, discuss terms, or any of the like with my grandfather. I never even agreed to go that far into the conversation with him. All I wanted to do was see if the car was available. And even in that, I am not entirely certain, and this is on me, which application I put his information on. I think it was one of many applications that I was inquiring about, trying to see if I can find the right vehicle for myself. Okay? And for those who are wondering, I want a 2017 Hyundai Accent. Black, blue, white, I don't really care about the color at this point. I just want to make sure it's the year and has all the bells and whistles that I'm looking for and all that good stuff, for those who care to know. So if you know anything about that car, it runs anywhere between $8,000 and $11,000. You know what I mean? So it's like they were trying to negotiate a deal for a down payment behind my back. And then we're going to take my grandfather's money. And then what? We're going to send me the car keys? They're going to send the car to me? Or are they going to send the car to him? I'm trying to figure out where in business does it make sense to negotiate terms of a car sale with a cosigner without the person who's actually applying for the vehicle on the line. Where they do that at? Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, there's still a whole lot for me to unravel and try to figure out, and then try to go forward and make right in this situation. And the fact that they tried to get $1,000 out of my 94-year-old grandfather, who's all the way on the other side of the country, for a vehicle that's supposed to go to me, in and of itself is too much to try to wrap my mind around. And I feel like my family's been wronged here in this situation. If everything that I said is exactly how I said it was, and I'll do more investigating, but if it is exactly how I said it was, they tried to sell that car behind my back, man, to my grandfather on my behalf. And I have no doubt that they have tried stuff like this with other people. No doubt. So, with that being said, I just want to say that Drivetime, I did not appreciate that at all. I have already contacted a lawyer, and there will be more to talk about in regards to this. I need to get to the bottom of this first off, and then it needs to be made right. So I just wanted to get up here and share that with anybody who's listening, man. I know that I've spoken to people who've had no issues with Drivetime. You know what I mean? The folks in Torrance, I got up here and blasted them, had to delete that. I don't. Now that I've done some further thought, I don't think they did really anything wrong at all. I'd have to do more just searching to figure out what exactly happened, but I don't think that branch had anything to do with it. I think this was an independent situation taking place from a remote location where they take all their phone calls, and somebody got desperate and went through extreme measures to try to sell a vehicle. I think that's what was going on there, and I do not appreciate it. So that's what I have to say, everybody. Thank you for listening to this. It's a personal conversation. It has nothing to do with anything serious outside of just what's going on with me, but I do want to share that this took place just for the record. You know what I mean? So people, when you're looking up Drivetime, trying to see if you want to make your options, here's my story, and I still don't have a vehicle. After all that, I don't have a car. They haven't approved me for a car. Not because my credit isn't good. No. My credit's fine, to be honest with you. But you have to have been working, of course, to get a car. They got to show that you can provide the income, and I just ain't been working. You know, I've been doing other things, but not something that you can put on the books. So it's like, all right, I got to prove I can make the money going forward. I understand that. That's why I need a cosigner. That's fine. But what's not fine is them trying to sell the car to the cosigner. That's not fine. Anyway, that's all I got. Peace, everybody. Thanks for watching.